So there was a little recap of Barack Obama's inaugural address, which we've pretty well discussed here on the show in the past couple hours. You're with expanded coverage of News Talk Online on Paltalk.com and CRN Digital Talk Radio of the inauguration of Barack Obama, live from Capitol Hill. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. To my left, your right is Robert Borosage or Sage? Sage. Robert is the president of the Institute for America's Future, co-director of its sister organization, the Campaign for America's Future. The organizations were launched by 100 prominent Americans to challenge the rightward drift in U.S. politics and to develop the policies, message, and issue campaigns to help forge an enduring majority for progressive change in America. Most recently, Borosage spearheaded the campaign's 2006 issues book, Straight Talk 2006, providing activists and candidates with distilled messages on kitchen table concerns, from jobs to affordable health care. He also helped to found and chairs the Progressive Majority Political Action Committee, developing a national base of small donors and skilled activists. Progressive Majority recruits staffs and funds progressive candidates for political office, including, I am told, Barack Obama.
Early on. Yeah.
Early on, I heard. Let me just move this closer to your lips so they can hear your melodious tones. So tell me how it is that long before he was even on the radar of the news media as a viable candidate for president of the United States, you chose Barack Obama as your guy.
Well, we were looking for the Progressive Majority looks for progressives who come out of the community, who are community organizers, community leaders, union organizers, trying to build the future progressive leaders who will be champions, not simply kind of blow with the wind. And he came out of that background, and we were happy to support him in his early primaries and meet him when he came to the Senate.
So when that happened, you really didn't suspect that you were going to be successful in participating in his ascension to the presidency?
No, certainly. In fact, when he first came to the Senate, if you had asked me then, I wouldn't have thought
never
this was going to be
never, not in these United States of America.
Right,
huh?
Exactly. It's an extraordinary journey, and of course, with today, the journey just begins. The real trip now takes place. So he's run an amazing campaign and really a historic moment, but now the real work begins.
You know, when he was running for the presidency, he, because of his progressive ideology, stood out much different. There was a big contrast between him and the other candidates. Many people in the news media pointed to pigmentation of skin when they discussed the contrast, but I don't think it was that.
Okay.
I think it was really where he stood on certain issues, including the end, most notably, I would say, the end to the war in Iraq. Then when he got nominated, he moved more to the center because he needed to appeal to a greater base in the United States. Did that disappoint you?
Well, I actually don't agree with that characterization. I thought we had the most ideological general election argument that we've had really since Reagan ran against Carter. Mm-hmm. Or Johnson against Goldwater. That is, in the last month of the campaign, Obama campaigned against the failed economic philosophy that had driven us into this ditch. And McCain accused him of being a redistributionist socialist, and Obama backed away from nothing. He said he was going to raise taxes on the wealthy, he was going to cut them on middle-class people, he was going to invest in new energy and education. So he didn't jettison his investment agenda or his redistribution tax reform in the wake, in the face of McCain's attacks. So we had this ideological choice that was pretty well defined in the last part of the election, not between two people gathering, hugging the center, but between McCain with Palin at his side, rallying the right, and with Barack Obama saying we've got to get rid of this failed economic philosophy and move in a very different direction. So I don't think he really did move to the center that much, and I wasn't disappointed.
Well, clearly there was a contrast between this campaign and the McCain-Palin campaign, and when we were in Denver covering that convention, and Peggy Noonan's microphone was on, but she thought she was off the air on MSNBC. She commented to her fellow panelists, not knowing that the nation was listening, or a segment of the nation. It's over now for McCain because of Palin, and I guess that left even those progressives who were not still enamored with Barack Obama no place else to go.
Well, once you get down to choice, you have a choice for the presidency, and in this case, it was a choice about direction. We had to bring an end to this conservative era that had really brought the country low and left us with a failed war in Iraq, escalating conflict in Afghanistan, and an economy that's in the worst condition since the Great Depression. So we had to move, and the country moved in large numbers. Actually kind of surprised itself, I think. When you go out of the mall today, people feel very good about themselves.
Yes, they do, and I have to say, of course, when a president is inaugurated for his first term, there's always a lot of adulation.
Sure.
But the sense here today, as compared with 8 years ago, is again, to use that word we're using a lot today, much contrasted, because there were people protesting George Bush, and there are a few protesters out here today, but not that very many of them. I mean, most everybody is really feeling pretty good about themselves and the nation. And interestingly, on this forum, where we're talking to people around the world, we're getting words of congratulations from people from Australia to Iraq, from Iran to I forget where some of the other countries, Argentina, called in, and we didn't hear that, I don't think, 8 years ago.
Right, I'm sure that's true. Well, the President Obama, in his inaugural address, did what many people thought he might be able to do, which is he made mention of the village his father was born in Kenya, and called on the world to see America in a different light. And I do think that the election of this extraordinary leader really does make people